All right, welcome back to Space Engineers: The Lost Colony. Last episode, we discovered Camilla Davenport's last log here. There's her body. We started uncovering the mysteries of this place. You know, Camilla Davenport played a key role in basically saving everybody, or at least saving the planet from this outbreak, and getting the people here to do one last heroic act. And with her information confirmed, let's see if there's anywhere else in here that we need to explore to uncover the mysteries. This building itself seems mostly explored, but now we're going to go to the morgue. We unlocked the morgue last time at the research lab. And so let's check in here and see what's going on. So there's a screen there and a locker. Here's a pad from Rosalia Velasco from Camilla Davenport. Rosalie, listen, have you had any trouble remembering things lately? Any short-term memory loss, that kind of thing? I have the feeling like I've been forgetting things, and please let me know what you're going to do with the autopsy of Lena McKenzie. First, my assistant, Azoko Zhang, and now Lena McKenzie, both within a week and both found in the sewers without any sign of violence. It doesn't feel right. So the detective, Lena McKenzie, was found dead as well. Alright, we've got Malcolm Benton, the governor, in the morgue, as well as Evelyn Davenport, who we don't really know the relationship. Is that the daughter? And then Lena McKenzie, the detective, Azoko Zhang, patient 1, and Bertram Vaughn, who we've met the brother Julius before. And there's temperature warnings on Vaughn and Zhang. Okay, here's a message from Dr. Azoko Zhang. Can't believe my luck. Since Dr. Davenport was on a field trip, Leroy Holloway came to me with a vial and some research data he stumbled upon in one of those old bunkers. I did some experiments with the content of the vial in my laboratory, and I believe I found a sample of biological agent ROS scientists were researching in this valley. I also deciphered the location of their main research facility. For now, I'll keep the location hidden in my lab. This time, I'll make sure first that we have the right location. Can't really afford any more mistakes. So it seems like we've found our first piece of evidence of where this virus came from, and it's from Zhang's field notes here, from this lab he found in an old bunker, an old ROS bunker, research-oriented scientist bunker. So that's really interesting. And then, of course, he was patient 0, so we know that that makes sense that he would be the first to die. That's just the autopsy. Okay, that's the office. The autopsy is up here. Let's take a look here. These are the chambers. Remember, chambers 4 and 5 were malfunctioning or were too warm. Level 3 grinder. Here's another pad from Lena McKenzie autopsy. After being missing for 3 days, Mackenzie's body was found in the sewers. No sign of violence, but the husband, Barry McKenzie, report Lena McKenzie had been behaving strangely for weeks before going missing. Lena McKenzie was suffering from short-term memory loss and had begun to lose interest, first in menial tasks, but later in everything. When Barry saw her for the last time, she was just sitting and watching an empty TV screen, had been watching the same empty TV screen the whole night. McKenzie went to get help. Okay. It's always a challenge to see if I can read those in time for it to go. But anyway, it said, went to go get help. When he came back, McKenzie was missing. Okay, so here's the chambers. This is Rosalia Velasco from Camilla Davenport Chief. I'm sorry, please forgive me if there's any chance to know how this fungus behaves. I need to see it working in a controlled environment. It doesn't make this any easier that you just sit there, no emotion, nothing. Please just say something, do something. From Davenport to Rosalie Velasquez. So I guess Velasquez began to be affected by the fungus. That's chamber 1. That's the governor. That's chamber 2. That was Davenport. That's and then Vaughn, I think it was. So Zhang was in 4. So only 1 has the virus growing out of it. That's interesting. Maybe that's because he's the most recent, or I don't know. Or maybe they're in not the same order as we read that report of. But very interesting. Definitely filling in a lot of information. So as we make our way out of here, I'll kind of go over some of that. Basically, Azoko Zhang, patient 0, went out and found an old bunker, an old ROS bunker, and basically took a vial of the biological sample from that bunker, brought it back and began to study it, and sent a message in that regard. And when he did that, after a while, he began to feel the effects of the virus. And actually, he wrote it down in his field notes, and he went there with Holloway. Holloway actually discovered it, not Zhang. But they both went there together and got a sample. That would imply that the bunker is near the Holloway farms that we've previously explored, because Holloway brought it to Zhang's attention out there. So after that happened, we don't exactly know what happened next, but we know that the infection began to spread. We know at some point it affected the Davenport family. Dr. Davenport was on vacation at the time the discovery was made, by the way, according to Zhang's field notes. But we know that at some point, Camilla Davenport was messaging Rosalie Velasco, who's in the morgue, about this whole situation. There was that weird message from Camilla Davenport to Rosalie Velasco about seeing it work in the lab. So we don't really know what that's about, but let's take a look at the Zhang residence. This is the other quarantine location, and I have the feeling we might get some answers here. There's a staircase. That looks suspicious. Let's explore the rest of the house before going down the staircase. Or, yeah. So there's the bathroom. Pretty generic stuff, really, in this house. This looks to be an office of some sort. Here's a pad. Priority orders from AGI. Your orders are to conduct a covert investigation in the Sunset Valley region for the whereabouts of an old ROS research facility. The research facility was believed to be in possession of an extremely dangerous biological agent. If you manage to locate the facility of samples of the biological agent, contact HQ immediately. We have provided BSL-4 facility under your house for safekeeping of any materials you may find. Do not, under any circumstances, get exposed to the samples in the research facility. Okay. Enter the research facility, I mean. Okay, so pretty cryptic there, but basically the company, AGI, was telling Zhang to secretly find an old ROS bunker and get a biological agent, or look into the existence of a biological agent from that bunker, and to store it in a lab under his house, which I presume is where that staircase leads. So now we know that Zhang was working against the interests of the colony secretly for this corporation. Here's another pad. Let's see what that says. Zach Zhang, troll base, found a possible lead into a small bunker while dealing with those farmers. Working in the police department sure has its benefits, though I'm starting to feel as if it might be a mistake to include my police K3PD in my call sign. Well, Mackenzie has her hands full with an investigation, so I expect we are off of this colony soon enough. At least my mother seems to assure us a bit too often these days, now that I think about it. It's like she's forgetting things right after saying them. Now, what was I doing? Ah, yeah, found some coordinates while exploring the troll base. Something about the buried bunker entrance. Maybe I'll go take a look at these coordinates tomorrow. The entrance should be somewhere in the cave. And then it gives me the cave for a buried bunker and referencing the troll base. Interesting. Has her hands up. It sounds like, so Zach was working under Mackenzie at the police station there, and it sounds like they knew they were going to be leaving or something, so, you know, interesting that Zach Zhang, the son of the Zhang family, seems to have been connected to the police force here. And Mackenzie was doing some sort of investigation. I think that's probably a reference to the Vaughn brothers investigation, potentially. But we don't quite know. And here's this tunnel into the lab for the Zhang family here. Here's a pad and a gravity component of all things. Research facility location. I am reading the documents correctly. To the entrance of the facility should be included in the coordinates. I visited the coordinates, but I don't see an entrance. It must be buried. So the ROS research facility coordinates are located on that document there. Here is the lab now. A little uranium, that's helpful. And lab coat rack. Let's take a look. Okay, here's a spray station, and yeah, we've got a flashing red light and some fungus. About what you'd expect, really. Not sure if there's anything to do in here. There's another door here. Let's see where this leads. There's another coat rack, another wash station there. Ooh, and wow, this is interesting. This is an old bunker, it looks like. And there's a dead body. Okay, so there is a dead body. This is a safe zone still, so we're not going to be running into turrets, but there's a body. That could be... It's not Ahsoka Zheng. It might be Hiroko Zheng. No, we think she made it to the Prospector's base. Not sure. But it could be Zach. It could well be Zach Zheng. Not sure. It's probably one of the Zhengs. But Ahsoka is in the lab, presumably. So, and this appears to be, yeah, this is the sewer. So it connects up to the old sewers that the city was built upon. And so it's and there's bodies down here everywhere. So actually, that could be somebody besides Zach, because there's a lot of people that went down here to die, including Mackenzie. Whatever her name was, the detective Mackenzie. So yeah, let's is this another area that got unlocked? Looks to be. Some ammo down here. And here is a pad. Let's see what this says. ROS storage bunkers. This is comm bunker. Can anyone hear me? We are under attack, requesting assistance. And it gives some coordinates for the ROS communications bunker. So that's interesting. They were actually attacked. I wonder who they were attacked by. And I wonder if we have the ability to answer that question in this scenario. Well, that provides some insight into the old ROS faction here. We don't know a lot about them. We know they built these old bunkers and that AGI built the city on top of it. So I guess the question is, who are they at odds with, and why did they get attacked? Okay, we came up the ladder there from the sewer from an inaccessible place that we hadn't been before. And we came out, this looks like the building next to Seraph's Fine Dining. Archie Floyd. Well, I'll be damned. For a moment I was sure I was busted as Leroy Holloway came into my shop, but it turns out he was simply coming to pawn some stuff since he got robbed. He didn't have much, though he did have a very interesting datapad on him. I'll put it down in my sewer storage for now. So that gives us the location of the sewer store. So this is the pawn shop. And Archie Floyd's pawn shop, which is next to Sarah's Fine Dining. And it probably gives us a GPS to that pad we just found from the ROS comms facility. So that just kind of opens up another avenue of investigation. It doesn't really answer a lot of questions. It just presents new questions. But we'll take all this loot for sure. Ammo, components, etc. And so we've been in the accessible part of this pawn shop, but that's like the office area. And I wonder if there's something else back here too. We can go ahead and knock this door off of our list. All right. But let's just be thorough here. We've already checked back here when it was accessible, probably in one of the early episodes actually. So all these are going to be empty because we've already searched them. Alright, so that leads to the sewer there where he hid the ROS comms datapad. Let's see if there's any more locked doors down here, because I think that's kind of where we're at as far as locked doors go. So continuing the story, presumably after Holloway found the sample and gave it to Zheng brought it back to the city, put it in his research thing, and it began to infect people. We know that Mackenzie, the detective, went down here into the sewers and died down here, and seems to have been somebody who might have been one of the earlier figures to die. We know that Ahsoka Zheng died at some point after having been exposed. And we know that Mackenzie died after watching a blank TV screen for a night, and the husband went to go get help, and by the time he came back, she was missing. So people kept going missing, and there was other references in the data pads to people going missing and nobody seeming to care. So Camilla Davenport seems to have uncovered this, warned people who could have been helpful, and got the reactor sabotaged and the comms tower disabled. So to really uncover the mystery here, you know, we may need to simply you know, let's check a couple of these off. We could probably check off morgue and jail and that sort of thing. And that's locked door number 9. Let's check that off real quick. But the point is, I think Mackenzie was investigating the Vaughn brothers, their relationship with the mayor, and some other stuff. And I did a little cut there because I put all my stuff away. But anyway, Mackenzie was investigating, I think she might have been investigating something else too. I mean, there's these side stories about Clan Cola and Frankie, the mob boss, and the Vaughn brothers having a monopoly, and the Velasquez mining having a claim against them, and the Owen Quinn digging around too much, the reporter. So, you know, it's just a lot of sidelines, but the main thing is that there are these old bunkers that Zhang was investigating almost to the detriment of the colony, and looks like he got everybody killed. It's not there. There's a couple of possibilities of people who didn't die. We don't know for sure that Holloway died yet, I don't think. We certainly don't know whether Seraph made it to the next valley over. There's also some references to people being on trips. You know, Aaron Davenport, we think he probably died, but he was on a trip when the sample was discovered. We think was it the Holloway parents who were on a trip as well, up in the mountains? I don't remember exactly, but so it's possible some of these people who are on trips didn't die. We know Marcus Krauss died at the comms tower. We know Camilla Davenport died in the research lab. We know Bertrand Vaughn was found dead in the morgue, and Julius Vaughn, I think, was found dead at the Vaughn brothers' house, I think. So, and Frankie was found dead at his treasure cave. So we know for sure some of these bodies. We know Mackenzie died in the sewer. Well, you know, I'm just going through, for what it's worth, making sure I got all of the locked doors in the city investigated before I move on. Looked pretty thoroughly through a lot of these places, and I think I've done pretty much every door. Well, here's one. Have we been in here yet? Secure archives, authorized personnel only. This is behind the jail, I think. Let's mark that one off. Okay, now this looks like somewhere we haven't looked yet. Okay, some good resources here. And here's a pad. Let's read it. This is Sunset Valley Criminal Investigations. Arturo Abbott, owner of Abbott's Emporium, is suspected of tampering with the Clan Cola. In order to investigate further, we need to obtain a sample of Clan Cola from outside sources. Currently not enough evidence to search warrant. Freddie Reese. Freddie Reese, the owner of Freddie's Bar and Nightclub, suspected of having possession of some heavy weaponry in search of a nightclub mansion. Didn't turn anything. Okay. Vaughn Brothers. Bertram and Julius, owners of Vaughn Brothers, suspected of unlawful competition, building a monopoly regarding mining in the Sunset Valley. Search warrant has been denied by the governor. Archie Floyd, owner of Archie's Pawn Shop, is suspected in the break-in at the Holloway farm. Currently not enough evidence for a search warrant. So that's interesting. A little flavor there. It gives you some insight into how these characters' backstory. Abbott doing something with Clan Cola. You know, Frankie Reese having weapons in his nightclub, and Archie Floyd, something with him, and then the Vaughn brothers, unfair competition. So those are some of the investigations Detective McKenzie was handling. Okay, so that, I think, largely does it for a lot of these waypoints that we had found. So we're going to go ahead and try to finish marking some of these off here. And yeah, I'm about 90% sure that we've finished that building completely. Now there is one over here, Velasquez, that I don't think I've looked at. So let's go take a look at Velasquez and see if there's anything in here. Rosalie Velasquez was the morgue worker that we already looked at. Mario Velasquez, I think, was working in the plant, and there's a dead body outside. We're not sure who that is yet. It's a TV screen. Coat rack. Similar house layout to the other ones, the single-family residences we've looked at. Let's go up here and see if there's anything. Bedroom. Looks like 2 beds in this bedroom. And an office desk. Very clean. I have to give everybody credit. There's not a lot of garbage in this place. There's a pad and some gold and credits and such. Let's take a look at this pad and see what it says. This is Mario Velasco. I received information of a possible location regarding one of those old bunkers. Since you are quite an expert in these, I would pay you a nice sum if you could confirm the location and bar it off. We don't need people to be endangering themselves. Possible bunker location, and that's a message from the mayor or governor to Mario Velasquez. So if there was an infection among the Velasquez folks, it might have come from the mayor / governor telling Mario to go take a look. And apparently Mario Velasquez has an expertise in old bunkers. So that's interesting too. That's an interesting fact. So we can go ahead and mark that off the list. We've done this house, yes. This was the Acosta's. I think Acosta was the one that sabotaged the reactor. Nobly. Alright, skipping ahead a little. I went ahead and searched through some of the buildings that I've already been in, just to cross a few of the locked doors off of the list. I think I had just done a poor job doing that in real time, so off camera, just a little bit there, I crossed out a few of those off the list. And now what we'll do is we will go ahead and get our vehicle, and we will probably think about heading home and regrouping and thinking about maybe exploring some of these ROS bunkers that we've been told about or gotten leads into. We also have a couple of mystery locations. We have the Acosta family escape cave. We have the possible cave that Velasquez was supposed to check out. We have the troll base, although I think we've already been there, that Zach Shang talked about. A couple of references to ROS bunkers, including the communications bunker and the research bunker. And yeah, so we've got a few places to check out. The mystery is only beginning. It's just getting deeper. Ooh, that was a close one. And here's our, it's not quite our base. Our base is right up here on the top of this hill, this next hill. Boy, though, driving in Space Engineers on a planet that is abnormally curvy is always a dicey proposition. The planets are much smaller than real-life planets, so they are, in fact, naturally somewhat more curvy than a parent flat plane planet like Earth would be. Okay, and we seem to have gotten stuck on the hill. How lovely. Okay, I think we've made it back home now. You know, I really wonder if we're... Oh, look at that. Beautiful eclipse going on there. When we did take some damage on our vehicle, it looks like... Ouch. Well, I'm going to put all this stuff away, and I'll be right back. Okay, we got all our stuff put away here, pretty much, and I'm disassembling some of our lower level tools, but I think now would be a good time. You know, there's a few vehicles that I want to get for this playthrough, and we have a few minutes in the episode yet, so I figured let's just go on a run and grab a couple of the vehicles that we would like to have at the base, just to have, you know. One of them is just right up the hill. Early on in this series, we looted and went through Frankie Reese's house, the nightclub owner's house out in the hills here. And interesting plot point. But he had a really nice golden vehicle. And if you look up all the vehicles on a wiki or something, you'll see this one is like the gold version of the car that you see elsewhere in the series. But I really want it, so I'm gonna go get it because it's gold. Why not? Now, you know, this is not relevant to the plot really, or it's not important that we have this for any functional reason. It's purely out of vanity, out of a sort of completionist attitude, I guess, just to have a good sampling of vehicles, just kind of show off the different things we've accumulated over time, you know, kind of a material collection aspect. Here's the house, by the way. You know, it's really interesting. The scenario and the housing within the scenario suggest a population of approximately 80 to 100 people, I think. And yet there's this rich guy who lives out here who owns a nightclub that can apparently be sustained. To me, that seems like you'd have to have 1,000 people or more to make that work. I don't know, or something, you know. So here's the vehicle that I was talking about. Let's drive this back home. Beautiful gold-plated PV, whatever, the PV4XI. And we do have a number of markers we can check off here, just to kind of get all these previously explored ones off of the bar. And that will leave the ones that are relevant, you know, left on the map, so we can decide what to do next, because that's really what we got to decide next. We do have an incoming fire line still. Did I guess we deleted that. Okay. We'll leave all the ore deposits and stuff, but yeah, we'll get all those taken off. Well, a little bit of housekeeping there, but I think it's worth it because the map now has several clear points where we can go. Could probably go ahead and take those ore deposits off too. But beautiful car. Look at this car. Interesting stuff, huh? And we do have a signal over here. The comms bunker entrance, it looks like, is over there. So that's something we could consider doing next time. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. We'll pick it up here next time on Space Engineers: The Lost Colony. Thank you so much for joining us. And boy, this mystery keeps, I mean, it gets deeper, but we are answering some very good questions about how the sample got into the city and who built the city on top of what and who the old people are who had the bunkers. So look forward to answering the rest of those questions next time on Space Engineers: The Lost Colony.